Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and welcome to Go Sick. No, we'll get back to that. We were in the middle of a conversation, so we thought, okay, we're going to start and talk about a little bit about mental health. We are talking today about whether, as a society, as a group of people, are we doing mental health right? You know, let's not worry so much about ministries and governments and all that. As a society, are we doing it right? Now, the main thing I sometimes wonder is that, are we too sensitive about these things? Are we too politically correct?
Yep. And it starts with being comfortable talking about it from the patient's perspective, from the caregiver's perspective. My dad has Alzheimer's and vascular dementia, and a lot of people think that it's just about not remembering the children's names, but he lived with hallucinations, he lived with delusions. And I share about the stories about him on my Facebook, you know, and some people actually wrote to me and said, Dr. Harati, you tak malu ke nak cakap pasal your father macam tu, menjatuhkan air muka dia kan? And I was thinking, hey, look, you know, I know who my dad is, I love my dad, you know, he now is living with a serious neurological disorder with psychiatric symptoms, and I want to educate you, and I want to make people feel that, hey, you know, Dr. Haryati, who actually teaches psychology, also has to deal with you know, taking care of a father with this condition.
I mean, I'd be embarrassed if, say, my father was a criminal or something which is of his choice. Yes. But if it's something like Alzheimer's or anything with, you know, a mental health condition, we like to think of it as like, I've actually heard this many times in Malaysia where people actually say, I don't know how to translate this in English without sounding horrible, but people kata, oh, itu penyakit orang kaya. You know, it's like you have the luxury to have that illness.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah. It's the taboo, it's being judgmental, it's a lot of things, labels. You know,
people are like, oh, if you have real problems in life, you have no time to be depressed.
Betul.
You know, you hear that a lot. You hear people who say you have real problems, you don't have to be depressed. Depressed is for people who've got a lot of time to manjakan diri, not strong enough, you know, that sort of thing.
And I also think that, I mean, especially for, you know, somebody like me, because I share with people my struggles and what I've gone through and all. I think some people are not ready to listen to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's also the problem, you know. I think they're not ready. I think they can't accept it. I think they don't think it's a problem. I mean, they don't think it's a struggle because they can't see it again, you know. So it's a lot of things. And at the end of the day, you know, when this happens, being a patient myself, you know, hearing stories from many other patients, you know, at the end of the day, you will feel like you don't want to tell anyone what you're going through. It doesn't serve any purpose.
I think the thing about reaching out is that also, again, you know, how people receive it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes they pass judgments and then you're left to pick up yourself back.
Betul.
Because
that's correct.
it's like the judgments and the comments that they make, it's like, dude, I don't need this from you, you know.
If only they knew how hard it is to be able to share your story, and at the end just getting dismissed when you know, open up yourself, like, hey, you know, I'm trying to be brave here.
Probably something that I know my family, for example, before I had this issue, they probably knew nothing about it. Because it's so irrelevant to them, for example. So if they saw a piece of article or a story, it'll just be like, oh, okay, they'll move on. But when you know somebody who has it, suddenly it's like, I want to know more.
We started our works December last year, but we launched it today in conjunction with World Mental Health Day, alhamdulillah. So it's called MIASA, Mental Illness Awareness and Support Association, and obviously the reason for this is because I am a patient, so it is the first patient-initiated NGO when it comes to mental health. And what we do is, you know, we promote the awareness, the importance of, you know, good mental health. You know, we talk about mental health issues. You know, we support patients, provide support to patients, carers through, you know, various programs, you know, campaign initiatives and also support initiatives. So, you know, currently we've got our support group ongoing. We've got about 60 patients in it right now. You know, we also do circle time where we meet once in 2 months. You know, everybody comes and, you know, shares their struggles. You know, we learn from each other. And then we also have, you know, we do Islamic spiritual therapy. You know, we do therapeutic assessment. We do programs. We've done forums, and we call it Journey to Recovery. So with Journey to Recovery, we talk about, you know, giving people the message of hope that recovery is possible. You know, we educate the public, you know, what is, you know, mental illness, what is good mental health.
It's great because I think that's fantastic. You know, I've been following your story and your journey for a while. But I think one of the questions that we had on this, you know, towards the end of this conversation is where do we go from here? And I think an initiative like that would be amazing, you know, to have a support group to have hotlines, to have people.
Yes, we have helplines
Yeah,
as well.
helplines, because there are sometimes where people kind of go, I can't talk about this to my family. I don't know where to reach out to. People like to think of this as a highbrow, kind of like, very up there kind of illness. So it's not at all, but I think sometimes, especially in the Malay culture or the Malay language, there might not be enough literature out there. There might not be enough programs out there that's done for that purpose, which doesn't have that religious flavor to it. And definitely we know that there has to be a balance of it. But when it comes to our society, the focus is mostly on that. Pray more and zikir more and all that, which is fantastic advice that you should give everybody. But if somebody's got diabetes, you don't just tell them pray the diabetes to go away. Pray and then take some medicine to go with it, But I think sometimes perhaps our society as a whole, if they had more representation in our Malay dramas. Inshallah, this is not a topic that can be resolved in it can't be resolved in a convention, let alone, and I don't think the problem is, I don't think it's to find one solution, because there's not one condition, right? So like everything else, it's a holistic approach to it.
It is always holistic.
Holistic, alhamdulillah. And it's always lovely speaking to you ladies. And congratulations on Miasa.
Thank you so much.
And all the initiatives that Qaiza is doing with Journey to Recovery.
Thank you.
I've personally benefited a lot from it, and also from the works of everybody on this table. Thank you very much for joining us. May Allah help everybody in this journey.
Yes.
It's a pretty daunting prospect to go through on your own, but
Yes.
everything, if you have a group, you have a support system.
Yeah.
It's like having a sisterhood,
Exactly.
a sisterhood
And,
or brotherhood in.
And knowing the hikmah behind the illness, behind the test.
Inshallah. So that's all the time we have today. We will have more information about Miasa on Miasa's
website,
yeah.
Facebook, and also Instagram, miasa.malaysia.
Okay, so let's all be part of the solution, and
Yes, inshallah.
Inshallah we will get there together.
Inshallah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are signing out from Gossip.
Assalamualaikum.
My name is Farah,
I am Nadra.
I'm Haryati.
I'm Anita. This is Gossip.
only on DOPStv.